Most producers are usually only hearing half their track, and that's usually going to be the kick, the bass, the melody, and the drums. But there's an entire layer underneath all of that, and it's what separates a track from what sounds flat to one that sounds like it's breathing, and most producers can't hear it. Personally, I couldn't hear it even myself for years. It wasn't until I started breaking down reference tracks at a granular level that I realized how much was happening in the background. Things like noise sweeps, risers, downers, impacts, and they weren't randomly placed either. They were placed in a system. In this video, I'm pulling a clip straight from one of my coaching calls. You'll see exactly how I find the right effect samples fast, how I build them, and how I place them in the arrangement so they sound good every single time, so you won't be guessing. Let's get into it. So now I want to show you what's going to be the homework for next week. It's going to be like effects and stuff like that. When I say effects, I mean things like sweeps and risers, builds, stuff like that. So I put all my effects in my effects group, like fucking who would have guessed, right? And the first thing I like to do, use Splice, right?
Yeah, the only thing I use.
Splice is Splice is great. I don't mind just grabbing whatever's the most popular on Splice because their background effects, no one's going to be like, hey, you took that from a sample pack. Like, just like no one knows. Like, it's just fucking noise and stuff. So the words you want to look out for are like fall, downer, lifter, riser, exhaust. There's none for that one. Sweep. But yeah, so I'll type in something like progressive house and like techno, and then I'll go like downer. And the way I usually organize this is I will create a 16 bar worth of effects. Right. And the way I usually do it is I have big, full, medium, full, or impact, right? And impact's number one, and small fall. Accompany that by big riser, medium riser, small. So now they don't have to be necessarily risers and falls. They can be sounds that reverse and sounds that deplete, right? That's where you can think about splashes and builders. So with my big riser, that's going to be something that happens at the beginning of a 16. So I'm not picking these necessarily because they're good. I just picked to show you, right? And I'm also going to quickly find a kick drum. So this is going to have context as well. And we have like our loop. So we've got that. And then we're going to go riser. We're going to find like a big riser sound. I'm just going to put like 4 bar.
I didn't know you could do that.
Didn't know you could do what?
Put it in 4 bars, like edit the sample.
It's annoying because sometimes it just plays 1 bar and you're like, well, I want to know what the whole thing sounds like. So, you know, and then for like the medium and small falls, you can type things like impacts. Yeah, that might be good. We might put that like halfway point here, just shorten it down. Sometimes doing these little curves on the audio is good as well. So smoothing things out. Maybe we'll try a sweep. That'll do. And we'll put that on the medium riser. Put it there. You see, kind of see how what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
It keeps it symmetrical as well. So then when we do the small fall again. If I type in like another downer, we get something like or noise actually like noise splash. Yeah, do that quite subtle. So that's good for what like these like midpoint ones will be. And then maybe I'll shorten that down, do something like that, and then. Get like type in reverse, maybe reverse vocal, that could be cool. Just grab that one there and then put on the small riser. Really what I should have done is like put the smalls next to each other like this and the bigs next to each other like so. Just do that real quick. This probably makes more sense when you look at it on the grid. Then we have this like reverse thing.
The smalls are usually the ones that goes like in the middle. The long ones, either riser or falls goes like all the way at the beginning or at the end, right?
Yeah, so the big ones are going to introduce the 16 and end the 16. The medium is going to be the halfway point between the 8s, and then these are going to be in between those in between the 4 bars. So now when we do it, we kind of have this. The secret. That's how you do it.
I mean, it's quite simple, right?
Yeah, it's really simple. I got it from Bill Gates because he basically said the same thing, explained the same thing. Right? I watched a seminar I did like over 10 years ago. And he's like, that's how I do it. And I was like, oh, that makes so much fucking sense. It's symmetrical, right, that way. And then what you can do is you start looking at things like layering. So maybe you think, okay, there's not quite enough power here. So maybe we're going to type in something like synth riser. And then this is what we got. So now I'm just like layering, right? Because I'm like, okay, this needs to be extended. Let's warp this and then just shift and drag. So I might want more power here. So I'm going to add a second big riser. So I call this like big riser 2. I just want more here. And same with this one. You might be like, oh, that's not enough. Whoops, that's not enough. That doesn't feel like it's got enough impact. So maybe we get like a second one and you sort of layer that on top and you have like big full 2. And you're just sort of doing that. If you feel like it needs it, doesn't mean you have to always layer. But like if you feel like, oh, you actually need a bit more energy there, then you can do stuff like that. And then when it comes to processing them, I'm literally just doing EQ, and usually I'm just rolling off up to like 1,000 hertz sometimes. Like you don't want necessarily a lot of low end with this stuff. You don't want it interfering with the synths and the bass. It can be down there, but if you find there's like quite a lot of mud building up, it's probably due to the effects not being cut.
But that's it in each channel, right?
Yes, do it on the individual channels, not the group, because you don't know when you're going to be like, oh, actually, I want a bit more low end in this particular sound. Right. So this will make up all of the effects you need for like a drop section. Now, when you come to your bridge and your build, you would do a new set of effects. You might reuse some of the same sounds, but let's imagine that there is going to be a build here. Here, I would actually, maybe I'd build something custom. Like if I'm doing like a really sick build up, maybe I would actually build my own synth and do something really sick. So I actually have one on my template that's like out the box, and I'll grab like a riser. And this is just one I've made. It's like fucking ages ago. It sounds like this.
You did that with Sarah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, for my builds, I will create a whole new, or not even create, but sometimes just go find a whole bunch of new sounds that will create like a signature section. You don't just want to lazily copy paste this across the whole arrangement, because then it just gets a bit too samey. Once I've built this, that's like my copy paste for the drop sections, for the bit where the kick and the bass are all in, right? And I'll just reuse that same 16 bar of effects over and over again. But if I'm in a build, obviously I'm doing something different. Here, I will create like another riser, and I also in the drum bus will maybe create like, I've got one just in my library that I always use the same one, because hey, if they ain't broken, keep doing it. And so you might have something like this. When you're usually before a drop, it's like a 1 bar gap. Now, instead of like cutting the 1 bar from the end like this, because obviously you'll ruin the climax, cut the 1 bar from the beginning and then drag it back. So then you keep the climax here.
Okay.
Right, so then we have something that sounds like this. Another little things you can do is you can grab a shifter, and if you put it in frequency mode, then use the fine tuning. You can put something like this on your drums, for example, and just do like maybe like no more than like 100 hertz. Otherwise, it gets a bit fucking EDM-y. We don't want that. So moving micro amounts. Do that kind of feel right. Another thing is if you've got my fade out, my filter and fade rack, you can also use the fade out automation like so. This will create some reverb. Another part of this is also drum fills. So I kind of consider the fills to be in the same realm of effects, because they add that anticipation going into new sections, but you would put them in the drum bus, right? Not the effects bus. So if we go back to Splice, we can start looking for fill, or you can make your own fills if you've got some, some good claps and snares you want to build. So let's just use that one. We've got unique sounds for a build then.
Okay, so basically it's like doing like a loop for the build and then a loop for the drop.
Yeah, apart from the build wouldn't sound like a loop, because obviously it's all going in one direction, right?
Yeah.
But for the drop section, yeah, this all loops. Like this goes into that, it sounds very naturally looping. And so if depending on how long your drop section is, like if it's 16 bars, cool, you just leave it like that. But let's say you do a 32 bar, you just basically go boom, copy all of that, duplicate all of that, and you're done, right? You just use the same effects, same kick drum, same bass line, and then you'd add like maybe you change the lead synth or something, whatever. And then for bridges, it's the same thing. So I might open a project real quick and show you what I've done on another. I could just put out today. But as you can see, it's actually quite an easy process. This shouldn't take you too long. It's just about hunting down the right samples. And then I would say as well, if you find samples you really like, don't be afraid to save them into your own library and just reuse them. I do that a lot. Okay, cool. So here we have like 32 bars of drop, and you can see like reusing the same effects. I have got like a second fall effect on the second 16 just to emphasize it. But yeah, same risers, same falls, same mid-range, middle of the loop like impacts and stuff like that. So if I solo this with the bass line, for example, my clipper on. And then we get to the bridge. So the bridge is obviously like, it's a different section. So I use a whole different range of effects here. See, I don't use as many though. I'm not like doing the whole like big riser, medium riser, small riser thing here. Mainly because it's not like you need as much energy for the bridge because it's like a bit more ethereal and wavy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
As I'm sure you know. So I'm not like hammering effects on it necessarily. There's also this really interesting section here where I didn't want to go straight into the bridge. So I added these extra 4 bars as like a transition. And I've put like unique effects in here as well that don't happen anywhere else. So I'll just play this real quick for context. You see here, I got these like 3 different effects here that are unique to this just one little transition section I've got. So you've got like a fall.
Yeah.
Got like a sub drop. And then we've got like a little reverse vocal thing.
I was gonna ask you for the bridge. You put like another bass there, right? Like a long bass.
Yeah. We've got a respace and a break beat for the kick. Stuff like that. Like so. And then for the build that we do here, again, this has unique effects just for this build. I actually use some of them here as well for the first bit of the first build going to the first drop. And I use them again for this bigger build with a few more effects. But then again, I'm not using those anywhere else, just in the build sections. So as you can see, like you have a set of effects for the drop section, a set of effects for the bridge section, and a set of effects for the build section. Does all make sense?
Yeah.
And then you just make it symmetrical. For the drop sections, the effects will be symmetrical. They'll loop. The build sections, they obviously are all rising to a fucking drop. And then for the bridge, again, they will loop. They will work as a loop, but you don't necessarily have to use a lot. Take it by ear, right? Maybe sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. This is the build. Again, like a 2-bar unique section that again has its own little effects, just to really bring home this fake out, and then we go bang straight into it, right? So again, like if you create these little like unique sections in your arrangement, like because I'm literally adding a 2-bar here, like just plonk it in between these 2 8-bars, and then having these like little effects I don't use anywhere else, just to really like create something that's unique, create a moment before the drop, right?